What is up? We are wrestling maniacs out there worldwide. It's the best one, Donnie here with.
What is going on, everybody? Danny Huckins here, man. 1/3 of We Are Wrestling. Unfortunately, Ben cannot be joining us for this extra today. But Donnie, I think me and you can take the reins on this one. I think we can. I think we're more than capable. You know.
Oh, 100%. Usually, Ben, when it comes to AEW news, Ben really doesn't want to be a part of the news covering for AEW because he's more, into WWE and he expresses that, which is good. He's, honest like us because we are wrestling fans at the end of the day, which is why we make our content. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, the best way to support us is by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications, videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course, you already know, the grind is real. And today we got some news that we're going to be talking about that involves AEW and Ring of Honor. Some behind the scenes stuff that is going on, and we want to give you guys our takes on the stuff that we have found out. And we would have had this up a little bit earlier, but unfortunately, with the We Are Wrestling crew, we have been all super busy and we've had stuff going on. Ben, unfortunately, he started a new job, so he's doing overnights now, so he's still trying to adjust to it. Danny's got some things going on with his family right now with the virus, and myself, I've been dealing with a bad cold, so that is why there really hasn't been any content. But we are back on the grind. Well, two-thirds of us. We still are, waiting on Ben a little bit. He still has to adjust. But we are, back, and we're trying to get slowly back into it, so there is going to be some changes within the next few weeks that you guys are going to want to, stay tuned for. And you already know, I'm going to update you guys. That is why you have to follow us at We Are Wrestling on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So, with the first news that we are going to be talking about is Ring of Honor potentially getting a TV deal. Finally! So, in these reports, we saw, there's a nice thing that came out pretty much saying that Ring of Honor is going to have one more pay-per-view, which they did announce for the end of the year, which is Final Battle, right?
Yeah.
We got Final...
Ironically enough, NXT is having a show the same day called Deadline.
Of course they are having the freaking show on the same day. I'm not surprised by that, which I can get into a little bit. But I got it. So with, Ring of Honor getting the potential, TV deal after this pay-per-view, they are going to be announcing a TV deal potentially in early 2023. So how do you feel about that?
I think it's good, man. I hear a lot of complaints from people that, even though Tony Khan is the owner of Ring of Honor, you don't need to have, AEW compromise with Ring of Honor talent so much. You know what I mean? It's good that they're going to have their own space to do what they're going to do. You know what I mean? And I feel like it'll loosen up the reins with AEW. They'll be able to book more legitimate AEW talent instead of trying to fit Ring of Honor guys on there somewhere.
So when you were saying about, AEW fans complaining about Ring of Honor being on AEW TV, were you talking about me?
Not specifically. I do know that that's one of your complaints, but I've heard several
Oh,
people.
yeah.
I've heard JD from New York. I've heard people from Fightful. I've heard Brian Alvarez. I heard a lot of people in the space talk about how, I feel like Ring of Honor talent being booked on the shows is taken away for guys that are signed to AEW. So.
Yeah, which I am very surprised that you're actually saying that, like Fightful and all these, wrestling news and observers, they have, said this because I feel like I'm the only person. For the longest time, I felt like I was the only person that was getting sick of this whole Ring of Honor on Dynamite because I think it goes all the way back to the pay-per-view that was in June. What was that called with New Japan? Forbidden
Forbidden
Door.
Door.
It goes all the way back to that. So after Forbidden Door, I was fine. I was like, okay, we're finally getting AEW back. we still get more New Japan matches and crap, and then we add Ring of
Mm.
Honor involved, and then All Out became a last minute friggin' thing. And I feel like it's been taking a lot away from the AEW product.
I do too. Like there's Tony Khan over the last year since I started watching, he's signed so much talent. And with him only having technically 3 hours of television time, as opposed to WWE that has four, plus they have like main event, and they have other, NXT, and they have other branches off the main roster. Um, there's only so much time. And I feel like with the Ring of Honor time, and I do understand from a business aspect, TK doesn't want to put these guys, he hired them, he
Mm-hmm.
owns the company. He wants to be able to put them in front of the audience and get people used to seeing them. That way they do tune in to Ring of Honor whenever they get a TV deal. I just feel like it's taken away from the legitimate homegrown AEW talent that TK has
Yes,
signed.
100%. And I gotta say, with, this Ring of Honor TV deal, this better be a true report because
Yeah.
I don't know how much longer I can take, seeing Ring of Honor on Dynamite. Do not get me wrong. I've enjoyed the Jericho Appreciation Society stuff and what he's doing with Daniel Garcia.
You know what I thought?
I'm enjoying it, but I'm sick of the Ring of Honor part of it. Let's get back to AEW.
You know what I thought? Why don't they branch off AEW? You know how they have Dark Elevation and Dark on on YouTube. Why
Yeah.
don't they do the same thing with Ring of Honor? Get them some exposure that way until they finally finalize the deal with HBO, whatever, to get an actual TV deal.
You see, here's the reason why I think that they won't do that. I feel like if you really, think about it, if they, put it on YouTube, then all the people that, are Ring of Honor fans and like, WWE marks, Ben, they're pretty much going to, go off about AEW saying, oh, Ring of Honor failed. Now it went from, being on like friggin' like a news channel to now being on YouTube. So I feel like with Tony Khan, because, he did the Death Before Dishonor pay per view and it was very popular. There was a couple pay per views he's done, and they've drawn, some pretty good pay per view buy rates and
Yep.
very solid crowds as well, and pretty decent arenas. So I think with Tony Khan, like what he's thinking is, I need to, value Ring of Honor. And if I just put it on YouTube to get exposure and then pretty much begging for a TV deal, you're going to end up like Impact Wrestling. I feel like with, Tony Khan, what he's doing, he's trying to value Ring of Honor. That's why we've seen Claudio with the championship, and now Chris Jericho is holding the championship on national television. And that's like what they did even in the beginning of AEW. They gave Jericho the AEW World title, and that is how they secured, viewership for, Dynamite.
But the thing is, like people say like Dark and Dark Elevation, like they'll fail their failures and stuff like that. But they if you look at the views for each episode, they get more views than Rampage does on Friday nights on a national network. So, I don't think that if they did put Ring of Honor temporarily on YouTube, I don't think it would hinder it at all. It would give these guys, place to work. It
You
would
want to
get
know
them
why?
a little bit more exposure. People are just so sick of seeing these guys on AWTV,
I'm
and
sick
I
of
feel
it.
like I feel like for the meantime they should, because Ring of Honor has a YouTube channel. You don't have to put it on AEW's YouTube channel with Dark and Dark Elevation. Utilize Ring of Honor's YouTube channel. It's just sitting
Yeah.
there from what I know. So I don't know, man. That's just what I think.
No, like I totally definitely see from your side. I'm just talking, from the business side of things. I feel like, they're trying to keep it valued so that they're seeing the pay per view buys. They're seeing, how good, the crowds are. So they're trying to value it so that, TNT and Warner Brothers, they look at that compared to like Dark and Elevation, where like Elevation is pretty much the same thing as Ramp. That's why people friggin' you get more viewers on Dark and Elevation than you do for Rampage, is because it's Rampage is on like television, but now Dark and Elevation, they're on YouTube, and it's the same thing. You have guys that are not being used going against people independent guys that, we all know what's going to happen. It's a
Yeah.
squash match every single time. So you get it
I
free
j-
on YouTube, but with, TNT, there's no point in staying up after SmackDown to watch somebody get
I
squashed.
stopped watching Rampage weeks ago. But the thing is,
You
like,
did a good made a
I
good
I
decision.
I feel like TK, he would be able to ask, for bigger numbers, meaning, bigger, a lot more money or whatever. Like, say, like he puts Ring of Honor on YouTube, and
Mm,
like let's just say they get 1.6 million views or whatever per episode on there. I mean, you can be like, look, this is how many numbers that it's doing on YouTube. Imagine if it's on your platform. This is the amount of money we want for my talent. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? I mean, I feel like that'd be a good business move. You
It
have to
would
remember,
be.
streaming is becoming the new TV. More
It
people watch
is.
YouTube than they do watch, anything that's on cable right now. You know what I
Look,
mean?
I'm gonna be honest here, man. I have YouTube TV because I cut the wire not that long ago, and I still use YouTube over YouTube TV, Paramount Plus, Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, all those, streaming things. I
Yeah.
still use YouTube. That's free
Yeah, exactly. So I feel
over
I
it.
feel like I feel like Ring of Honor gets put on YouTube. They have a lot of success there, 1 million views or however many views or whatever. I feel like TK has a better chance and a quicker chance at being able to get a streaming deal with somebody, you know.
Yeah, no, like I totally agree. And like when it comes to Dark and Elevation, I'm just in Rampage. I'm
Yep.
tired of the squash matches that we get all the time. Just because you're not using somebody, they put like Lance Archer against, like Luigi Primo, the freaking guy that'd be throwing the pizza dough around. And like we all
Bro,
know it's gonna happen.
that dude is hilarious. But
He
yeah,
is hilarious.
he shouldn't be on AEW TV. I think they found him on TikTok if I remember correctly.
Probably did. But I gotta say, like, with Ring of Honor getting a TV deal, they need to do something at this point because I am tired of seeing, Ring of Honor stuff on TV. And
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie, this might be a hot take, but with what happened recently on Dynamite with Jericho and Jerry Lynn, and I'm a fan of Jerry Lynn. I really did not care for that segment whatsoever.
Yep.
And
I
I think
enjoy.
that has to do with you're trying to promote another promotion on your product that you should be focusing on.
Yep.
And I think
I
like
enjoy.
that really
I
becomes
enjoy
the
Jer-
issue.
I enjoy Jerry Lynn. So whenever we get a chance to see him, I don't mind it.
Yeah, no, like I get it. It's just the whole Ring of Honor thing. I just want it over with already because I feel like AEW is not going to be able to progress if we keep, friggin' putting these Ring of Honor matches on Dynamite. So I do have to agree with you on, them, putting ROH on YouTube. It is the best thing to do because honestly, like everybody uses it. It's just I feel like they just need to freaking do something because I am just tired of Ring of Honor content happening on Dynamite. It's taken
Yep.
away so freaking much.
Yep. And I feel like that, like a lot of the issues that TK has been having with a lot of the members of the AEW roster is the fact that he's trying to juggle with putting so much into the show, but not giving a lot of these guys the proper time. I feel like, you know what I mean.
No, I
So
definitely
I
agree.
feel like the morale in the backstage area, once once everything gets squared away like that, I feel like everybody will be better off.
But I will say this when Ring of Honor does get a TV deal, in my prediction, here's a little hot take. Fans are going to overreact about the ratings because I don't think the ratings will ever be over 500,000 people for Ring of Honor.
I mean, I will add it if I'm gonna watch 1 or 2 episodes if I feel like the show is worth it. I will definitely be adding it to uh my streaming thing.
Yeah.
I hope it's
I heard it's going to be a part of HBO Max, I believe.
yep,
That's
which I
what I
have.
did read, which I
I
don't
ju-
have.
I literally just got HBO Max. I got it because like a lot of like Batman the animated series is on there. The cartoon from back in the '90s that I watched, and a lot of the DC, Batman
Mhm.
stuff is on there. They have a great list of like horror movies and crime dramas and stuff like that. I would check it out.
I'll have to, because I know, the fiance, she, used to use it all the time too. And she had a lot of
Mm.
positive stuff. Just a little pricey, I feel like. But it all depends on, how you do the deal.
I got the 9.99 one, man. It's cheaper than Netflix. I don't even use Netflix.
Oh man, Netflix is too good. But you know what needs to come back?
What?
We need to get our blockbusters and Hollywood home videos back. That's what
Yes,
we need.
bro.
That's what we
Yes,
need. Fuck the streaming
bro.
services.
Bro, that like going to Blockbuster and like Hollywood Video and stuff like that. This is like definitely not a wrestling topic, but I feel like it's worth mentioning. That's where I found some of the best movies that I fucking still love today. Like my
Yes.
first time I ever watched the original 1978 Halloween. You know, my mom let me rent it, bro, and I watched it in my basement because I saw a Halloween movie, a guy in a white mask, and it was Halloween H2O. At that time, I did not know about sequels and stuff like that. So I was like, oh shit, this must be the movie I saw on TV. I assure you it was not. And I ran up the stairs so fast I almost shit my pants.
Damn. Yeah, for me, that's like where a lot of my, wrestling nostalgia began was, with
Mhm.
Blockbuster and Hollywood home videos. That's where, I would rent those VCRs and,
But I remember
like,
renting
of old nine,
raw.
like, and it was even, like, before my time. Like, it would be, like, like the new generation
Yeah,
WWF with, like, Yokozuna, Bret Hart, like, Lex Luger as the narcissist, like 1993 to like 1996. I would rent
yeah.
those out, and that's how I really got into wrestling, was from that. But now these streaming
I
services
I
took this away
remember
from us.
I remember renting remember when you could rent like PlayStation 1 games, they
Yep,
had
I
they
always
had
rented
Smack
PS2 games.
they had SmackDown Know Your Role and SmackDown Shut Your Mouth and like all these
And that
like
was cool because you actually got to like try the game out and like actually like see if you like it or not for cheap.
and then it was almost like being on an adventure because you didn't until you went there you didn't know, because they only had so many copies per store or whatever that they would rent out. So it was almost like like
Oh, it was always a scavenger hunt when you go
yes,
into there.
yeah, like
Always. And it was like one of my
like
mom's favorite places to
you would
go
go up
to.
to the counter and be like, "Hi, do you have this game?" And they had to look on the computer and they'd be like, "Yes, somebody just returned it a little while ago." And then you'd be like, "Remember how fucking excited you would be?" I mean, come on,
Yeah.
bro.
Man, it was nuts. But now, getting back into our, wrestling topics here, another thing that we definitely got to talk about here on the extra, since, we're talking about behind the scenes stuff going on in AEW, there is, there's been reports that AEW let talent know that they're going to be filming backstage for a potential project,
Yes, I heard about
which I
this
know you
months
got more
ago.
details than I do with this.
I wouldn't necessarily say I have more details about it because I haven't heard about it in months. But I do remember there being talks with I can't remember, I think it was TNT, to where they wanted to. It was almost like
Roads to the top.
well, I never watched that show. It was almost like Total Divas in a way, or Total
Yes,
Battle,
they did.
whatever the
I
fuck
did
that
see the
was.
reports of them comparing what they're doing to Total Divas, where they're
Yeah,
gonna like select a certain amount of superstars or talent that they're gonna
yeah,
follow their journeys and stuff.
yeah. So it'd be like it would pretty much show you like what life is like on the road. You know what I mean?
And I'm gonna say
Um,
this about my opinion on this. I got two opinions: good and bad. What should I start off with? Good or bad?
uh, go in with the bad news because I feel like it'll be a lot more beneficial once the good news comes out.
Well, to the We Are Wrestling Maniacs, I'm afraid I got some bad news.
Bad news, Barrett.
Yep. So, the thing I don't like about this reality show is I've been an AEW fan since day one, and
Mhm.
And I have not been a part of the whole WWE hype that's been happening because, of course, we all know AEW had the momentum when Vince McMahon was running things because everybody, got sick of what Vince McMahon was doing. Now Triple H takes over. WWE's got the momentum and they are riding it right now.
Yep.
And even I myself, I enjoyed AEW a little bit more than WWE, but now it's really starting to transition because there is holes right now in AEW that they need to, fix. And one of those I think does go back to the Ring of Honor talks. They need
Mm.
to separate Ring of Honor and AEW. They need to separate this Forbidden Door stuff. Focus on AEW.
I do like the fact, like, I don't want it all the time, but I do like the fact that they're gonna be bringing this Forbidden Door um show is gonna be like an annual thing. I do like
I
that,
do like that as well, but keep it between that time period. After
but
Forbidden
I
Door,
want
move on.
what I want is I want to see AEW guys go over to New Japan as well. Like, because it just seemed like with this
Hmm.
entire build up, it was all about New Japan coming over to AEW. And
Yeah,
you didn't really get AEW going over, like invading New Japan at the Tokyo Dome and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I mean, I feel like
yeah,
that would have been pretty sick. And I feel like a lot of that does have to do with like the travel restrictions because obviously we know from experiences over the last couple of days, COVID is still very much a thing. It's not as big or as scared of as it was, when it first came out or whatever. So I feel like maybe that was an issue with it. But I would like to see sort of like a kind of like the invasion storyline back in the Attitude Era when WCW and ECW invaded WWE. Kind of like
yeah.
I want something kind of like that, like
That
just
would
a
be
little
kind
bit
of
more
cool.
exciting.
So with the bad, that's the only reason why I say the bad because there's holes right now with AEW that they need to
Yeah.
focus on. And it's not even just the Ring of Honor thing. Tony Khan needs to get himself in inner circle. He needs to find guys he can trust, which seems like he's doing something with Jericho and Mox, giving them more creative and like helping them mentor talent, which is a good step in the right direction. But we
It
still need
is.
to get he needs to get himself a Bruce Pritchard. He
Yeah.
needs to get himself a John Laurinaitis. Not saying exactly like them, but he needs to have guys that he can trust, guys that, will help him with creative and help him run things smoother.
Hopefully these guys won't pay women $3 million for certain extracurricular activities.
Yes,
Um
I'm not saying another John Laurinaitis. I'm saying like the job role of
yeah.
being like, an executive, vice president of
I
like talent
do hope
relations.
I do hope that, like, if there was anybody in the AEW roster, I would definitely pick Moxley and Jericho
Mhm.
to be in these roles. My only concern is obviously we know Moxley has had issues with, substance and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And Jericho, he has a lot of stuff on his plate. I really hope adding an extra layer to that doesn't burn them out. We don't want
Yeah.
Moxie to feel so frustrated, so burnt out, and just like he can't sleep or something like this to where
Mhm.
he goes back to his old habits. You know what I mean?
But
A
that there
huge
is
concern.
something, but there is some good in that news about John Moxley though. With this deal, because of like all like the big deal that he got, which is one of the best deals he's ever got in his career, he's
Yeah.
gonna be doing less stuff like outside of AEW now, only when he feels like it. So it won't be as much as he's been doing because outside of AEW, John Moxley's been killing it, doing
I would
stuff
have
with
loved
GCW,
I would
doing
have
stuff
loved
with
for
New
him to come to
Japan.
Blitzkrieg, bro. That's one match we would definitely sponsor. John Moxley, if he ever came to Blitzkrieg, bro. Holy shit.
Oh yeah. But now with the good, honestly, I love following the stuff behind the scenes with,
Yeah.
the wrestlers. And with WWE, we're very fortunate to have, the network where we get to see, WWE 24 and we get to see some of these documentary series on there where they do follow, wrestlers and stuff. And with AEW, like, the first time we got that was Roads to the Top, which
Yeah.
I definitely, I was actually a fan of it. A lot of AEW fans did not like it. They felt like it was like pretty much total divas. which is understandable because some people
I
enjoy
haven't watched
just
it.
the
I don't know.
wrestling.
I don't know where to watch it at. So I
Some
haven't
people
watched it.
enjoy just the wrestling. Others, enjoy all of it. And some even enjoy the reality side of things, which me, outside of, wrestling, I love reality television, which, on Best One Donnie, I'm right now covering the challenge, Ride or Die. If you love the challenge, I recommend you to go over there. But with that being said, I gotta say, I think this will be a good thing as well because you can pick some
Hmm.
underrated guys, you can pick some, decent guys that are already known, and
Yeah.
this actually might really help certain talent elevate their careers and go to the next level. Hopefully, we don't have an Eva Marie on this.
Keep Eva Marie the fuck away from anything
I know
that's
how much you love the
pro
Wyatt
wrestling.
thing. You think that she's gonna join? I've been seeing stuff.
I would literally stop watching.
Yeah, me
I would
too.
literally stop watching. Listen to me. Keep Eva Marie and keep Charlotte Flair the fuck off my television.
Well, especially Eva Marie. That's on a whole nother level.
Yeah, but Charlotte Flair, if I want to watch Ric Flair, I'll watch Ric Flair, okay? I don't need to see Ric Flair with a pair of tits.
So, with this reality show being, rumored, who do you think some of the guys are going to be that are in this? Or, women?
Oh man, I don't even know. I don't even know if it's
Just
like
a guess. Just at least name, like, 5 random AEW people.
I would probably put Jericho in there just because I feel like his like you have to make the show exciting, right? You know,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
all about what reality TV is. It's gonna, have instances of drama or whatever. Um, and unfortunately, I will well, not unfortunately, but I will say AW has a less busy schedule than WWE. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they travel Tuesday, have a show Wednesday, and then they fly home until the following Tuesday. Unless they do like independent shows and stuff like that on the weekends and stuff like that. Which like
Mm-hmm.
somebody like Jericho, Moxley does sometimes, but GCW, I don't know how much he's going to be doing that anymore because GCW now has somewhat of a working relationship with WWE, so he might not be doing independence very much anymore. Um, but I feel like guys like, Jericho, I would add Moxie in there because he does seem like he lives in a very exciting lifestyle and he could, probably bring us a little
Well,
bit more
John Moxley,
insight.
I'm gonna say this. We're probably not getting John Moxley. That man lives his life low key outside of wrestling.
I mean, you never know, bro. I mean,
Because I know when Renee was on Total Divas, I know like he really wasn't in there much. Like he would make a couple appearances here and there, but like he
I
really
mean,
didn't,
John
float.
Cena was the same way, bro. And I mean, they let the camera crew in his house. So, I mean,
I'm very
anything is
surprised they actually. I'm surprised he allowed that. I'm very surprised.
anything is possible, but I would say Jericho just because like he does podcasting, he does tours with Fozzy, makes music, like that's very exciting. People are going to want to see an insight in that. And it seems like Jericho, he also acts. He was in I just saw Terrifier 2, and Jericho has he plays a character in the end credit scene, which I almost threw up. That movie is fucking as brutal as they say it is, trust me. But Jericho's into acting, so he's doing that. Like I do feel like one of the um, people that they're gonna get to sell the show is gonna be Jericho in there. I would say Moxley, depending. I mean, he probably won't show up a lot, but if they add Renee to it more, I mean, they're
I could
married,
see
so it's
that.
gonna,
I could
you
see
know what
that
I
being
mean?
more realistic, so that like he shows up here and there probably. I could
Yeah.
see that.
MJF, he seems like he loves to talk. He loves to tell people how good he is. So I feel like
Not
throw
gonna lie, if
MJF.
MJF is on there, I am watching every single episode.
Like, I mean,
Just
come
putting
on.
that out there.
I could just see him wearing his
Just that
scarf,
little alone
whatever.
would sell me.
I could just see him like, dressed in a suit, wearing a scarf, eating an apple while his wife's doing dishes. He walks away and just smacks her ass. Like
Nah, you
I
know
can
what?
see,
No, here's what would happen. All right, she's an artist, so she'll be painting. MJF will have some ketchup, and he'll just like spray ketchup on the painting.
bro. Did you see one of her Instagram posts recently?
Yes, that was hilarious.
She
She had the
got she
Made a
She
picture
got
of Moxley.
she got in an argument with MJF, and she decided to get revenge by painting a picture of Moxley with the AEW title.
Yeah, and then he said something
Um,
about cheating.
yeah, you know, I
It's
don't.
all that's a work. I feel like that's a
Oh
work.
yeah, oh
It's
yeah.
just fun. It's funny to see like MJF, stay in character at
I
all
would love to
times.
see. I would love to see the camaraderie between MJF and his parents. Like, see, like, could you imagine them had doing an episode on for like fucking like Thanksgiving or Christmas, and like you having it at MJF's
he
like
calls
parents'
his
house?
he calls his mom. What does he call her? Like a dumb slut or something? He's, I can't believe like the stuff he gets away with. It's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I
it's
love
gonna
it.
be it's very hard to picture MJF in the WWE setting because a lot of like he'll have to drastically change his gimmick. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's what makes MJF great. The reason why I like him is because of the outlandish shit that he says, and I'm like, oh shit, this dude is not fucking around right now. You know what I mean?
Doesn't give a
So,
fuck. Yeah.
um, I I would say Malachi Black, but it depends on if he's gonna be back or not.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Maybe
No.
Miro. You
Mir,
know,
that's potential. I can see that.
Sammy Guevara.
Nah, he's got the vlogs. I don't see that. I know a lot of
I
people are
mean,
probably speculating it's gonna
just
be
cause
him. I don't
just
know.
cause he has a vlog doesn't mean he's not gonna fucking take the chance to be on national television more.
Yeah, no, you're right. If he gets the
You
opportunity,
know,
the money's
Matt
there.
Hardy maybe. I mean, even though he's not like on the same, he's legendary. He's on the same
Honestly, Matt Hardy
realm
would sell
as
it for me. And like he's
yeah.
not even like a big name in AEW. Like that would be a really cool
He's still fucking
addition.
legendary, bro. So I mean,
Yeah, so
those are some of my
all
picks.
right, so here's a couple of mine. I'm gonna go with some underrated people that we don't see often, but we might see at
The
times.
acclaimed, at least Max Caster. I don't know if Anthony Bowens will be it, but I
So
mean,
one of the people that I think will definitely be on this, Ricky Starks. I
mm-hmm.
definitely see Ricky Starks, being a part of this because we've seen Ricky Starks grow a lot. So you
Yeah,
can really do a lot in this, this reality series with Ricky Starks
yeah,
in there because they did show a lot of stuff on Roads to the Top with him and Cody, a
yeah.
lot of the Cody Rhodes guys. Another guy I could see, maybe Dustin Rhodes or QT Marshall because they do some training with a lot of their pretty like they're homegrown people, like they're beginners, like Brock Anderson and Lee Johnson. They do
Yeah.
training with them. Another person I would love to see, which I don't think we're gonna get, Brian Pillman Jr. Let him, stand out. And I heard from Elevation that he did on Monday. Friggin' a lot of people are giving him positive feedback. Like he's gotten
Yeah,
a lot
he
better in
has.
the ring with
I
what I
feel
saw.
I don't know if that'll be a little bit too much drama. Brian Pillman, he has a lot of like issues
Mm.
personally, like
Yeah, that's why I don't see
you
it.
know,
I don't
family
see it
issues and stuff
happening.
like that. You know, and I mean, you would have to, whoever's going to be involved, you're going to have to show their family. You know what I mean? Because you're going
Yeah.
to have to show them outside of the professional wrestling setting.
Hmm.
And I don't think Brian Pillman, like, he doesn't get along with his sister. He didn't, him and his mom had, a lot of issues or whatever before she passed away. I don't even think he said goodbye to her before she passed away. Like, Brian Pillman, like, good performer, awesome performer. I would love for him to be on the show. I
Hmm.
just feel like maybe that'll be a little bit too much baggage with the
Yeah.
history that the Pillmans have.
No, I can definitely like I see that. I could see like Sean Spears maybe doing it as well. That's another guy. I feel like he just came back.
I feel like he would definitely need it because he's lost a lot of momentum since he stopped being with MJF. I feel
I
like a lot
don't
of
like
his
his
hype.
face turn. I got to admit, I don't like it. It made no sense that he literally came back after smacking a chair, Wardlow's head, and like they just like are cool. It's cool to see them like all reunite, but I just missed the chairman and his old entrance and stuff. And then the
Yeah.
last person, I'm gonna go with a woman wrestler because you're definitely going to get a woman wrestler on
Well,
this.
yeah.
I think we are going to get Jamie Hayter just because of how popular she is with the crowd.
I could see Jamie Hayter. I could see Tony Storm because she's a women's champion right now, the interim women's
Yeah.
champion. I could see as much as we don't like. I mean, we're totally forgetting about like Adam Cole and Britt Baker and all these guys. Like I feel like there's so many people that
Honestly, Britt
they could.
Baker would actually be a really good one for this because outside
Athena,
of AEW, she does does the dentist stuff and
yeah,
she's out here, really, setting an example which
Yeah.
is, really cool to see.
Now, what I would do for the show is I would like have like the first season, follow, 5 or 6 people, whatever, have each episode probably like an hour,
I think
45
it's gonna
minutes
be
with,
it'll be 35. It'll be a 30-minute show, I think, because that's like what Roads to the Top was. It was like a 30
yeah,
minute
but
show.
yeah, but there's gonna be more into this. I would have the show an
Hmm.
hour,
An
right?
hour, I
Obviously,
agree.
obviously with commercials, 45 minutes. It's not that bad. Um, and like the first season, have it be about like 10 episodes, and I would have it follow like a select 6 performers. Every season, I would have it be the same, time frame and everything. But I would have it
Switch it
follow.
up.
I would have it switch it up.
Switch it
Every
up.
season
Yes.
follow different people.
Honestly, that right there, Danny, you hit the nail on the head. That's how they should do it. Switch it up. I
Yeah.
think that is a great idea because then we can really see certain wrestlers progress and we can get more of an inside look at things, which
And
I
people
think a
won't
lot of
get
us
burnt
fans we
out.
want that
And
for AEW.
people won't get burnt out seeing the same people all the time every single season.
And this show, it does wonders for a lot of people. Like,
Yeah.
if you look back with Total Divas, Nikki Bella, she went on to having one of the best, Diva title reigns in, WWE. Around that time, she, was one of the examples that really started the, women's
Yeah.
revolution by, being a big role model. And that was a lot of it had to do with Total Divas with
Yeah.
that. And this reality show, if it's produced properly, it definitely has the potential of being good. Which, for me, I'm definitely going to have to, see what happens. We, got the reports in the news. We, once there's more details, we'll definitely have to cover it again.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's what I would do. I would, have 10 episodes each season, 45 minutes, an hour, with commercials, 45 minutes without. Seems like a good time. And I feel like if you follow like 6 people, I mean, you want to give somebody their own separate time in each episode. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? If it was 30 minutes, 35 minutes, it would feel rushed to me.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
feel
but
like
e-
realistically,
but
it's going to
every
be
season
30.
I
I feel like
but every
realistically, it's going to be 30 minutes, but what it should be, an hour.
But every season have it follow like different people. Obviously, they're backstage. You're gonna see like old faces from season 1 or whatever in season 2. But I would just have it that way everybody has equal time. And I mean there
Hmm.
might be people that don't want to be involved with it, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah. So, the last thing, we are definitely going to be talking about, we'll probably keep this one short and sweet, only because we have, been going on for quite a while here on Extras, feeling like a regular episode of the talk show, which,
Yeah, I
by the
know,
way, is the
right?
We Are Wrestling Maniacs. The We Are Wrestling talk show will be resuming pretty soon. We just got to figure everything out, with all of our new, schedules and stuff,
You can
and we'll
edit
be
this out,
giving
be
an
right
update
back.
on that. Alrighty.
I don't have COVID. If I have, I hope I. That's fine.
Alright, ready?
Yeah.
Set. Action. So, our last report that we're going to be talking about, we're going to try to keep this one short and sweet because this, extra has been going on longer than we usually do, but it's been a while since, we really got to sit down and, talk about some wrestling.
Yeah,
Which, by
man.
the way, guys, the We Are Wrestling talk show will be resuming pretty soon. We just got to wait for Ben to, adjust to his new schedule, and we'll have, an update on that pretty soon. But
And
with
we will be live tomorrow. I believe
Yes, we
you post.
will.
I
We'll be
believe you
live
posting this tomorrow.
tomorrow,
Yep.
5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you guys, can shoot the shit with us and, we'll talk about some wrestling. But with our last, report that we're going to be talking about here on the extras, because it, ties in with, the reality show and, the Ring of Honor TV deal, Another thing, that's been reported is that Warner Brothers Discovery, they want a long-term deal with AEW and they plan to promote All Elite Wrestling as a sport, not entertainment.
Well, I
How do you
mean,
feel about that?
so there's a very big distinction between pro wrestling and sports entertainment. I've always felt like this since a lot of people don't like it. They can't grasp the fact that AEW focuses more on the in ring aspect than they do about uh
Mm,
I guess backstage drama is the wrong word to say because there's a lot of backstage drama in AEW. But just like a lot of the major storylines or whatever, like that you see in WWE, so to speak. Um, so I do feel like it's not out of the realm of possibility and clear mindedness. Like when you look at WWE, they're the same, but yet a lot different than AEW. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
um, I I've I've thought about that for a while. Like, I've always looked at AEW more of a sport than, entertainment because I mean these guys like they're concentrating on like they'll have like a 20-30 minute match. Then they'll have like a 2 minute or 5 minute backstage segment. You know what I mean? So um I definitely I definitely think it's a good move, personally. So
If here, I'm gonna keep this one, short and sweet here, and I might rant a little bit on this one because you know how I feel about this, Danny, when it comes to the whole AEW sports thing. Because with AEW since day one, they've been trying to present this as like a combat sport, and make the records matter, the
yeah.
ranking system matter, and
Ranking
now
system.
with this, reports going on that, Warner Brothers, they want this to be more of a sports feel. I want the old school AEW back. I want them, like, when it comes to tag team matches, when you tag someone in, the rules back in when you first started in AEW was you had not a 5 count, you had a 10 count
Yeah.
to so tag teams, they have more time to execute their moves. But moving forward, when they got on TV and stuff, they just stopped caring whatsoever about the 10 rule or the 5 rule, which is in WWE. I think none of them really care that much about it. But
Hmm.
I feel like the ranking system, it's a joke. It needs the matter. And that's the thing that really sucks because at first with AEW, the rankings did matter. Like with the TNT title, you had these open challenges, and that's what the title was presented as, which I was
Yeah.
okay with. But with the world title, when you have literally the AEW show I went to back in the summer, you have Roosh going against John Moxley for the title.
That was a good
Roosh, who
match.
hasn't even wrestled at this point in an AEW match. Yes, he's done a Ring of Honor pay per view at the time, but he never wrestled an AEW singles match.
Hmm.
That's where I have a problem with this. And I feel like, if they are going to want to be presented as a sport, they need to go back to, the day one basics, which I don't
Yeah.
think is going to happen because I think the person that, had this idea with, the 10 count with the tag teams and records and rankings, it was Cody Rhodes. Cody
Yeah.
Rhodes was the bright mind behind, the good stuff in the early days. And then when Tony Khan, started to, get more, greed and more, like into the professional wrestling, he, is booking it like a toddler.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's gonna have a different opinion on this. Like I don't see it as a bad thing because, like I said, they do focus more on the in-ring aspect, and that's more of sport
That's how I want it
centric
to be,
than
though. I want
you
them
know
to
what I mean.
focus on
So
like the combat sport because I want that feel to it. Like I know MLW, they have something very similar to that. And honestly, like I think the combat sport thing in professional wrestling could work. It
yeah,
really could. I'm not saying do what Impact Wrestling did in 2016, like what they did for like the Grand Championship where you had like people wrestling in like rounds. Do not do that, but like what you're doing with the regular professional wrestling matches, but just having it more as a sports feel. Like,
Yeah.
you can really actually make it work if you really try it. And I'm sorry, I will not consider AEW a sport until we actually have a ranking system that matters. FTR's been
Yeah.
number one for how long now? And they haven't even got the tag team title shot?
Yeah, the ranking system is kind of shit in AEW, and that's one thing. There's a lot of things within AEW that need to be fixed. Um, you
Yes.
know, I don't know, man. Like, I don't have very much knowledge on this entire thing. I just heard about it earlier tonight when you showed me. But I do look at AEW more sports center than I do look at WWE.
Oh
You
no,
know what I mean?
I with that take right there, I do agree with you on that. I think even Impact Wrestling looks more like a sport than WWE. And
Yeah.
WWE makes it, known. They're focused on sports entertainment, which I'm glad they're starting to
Yep.
bring the wrestling though involved. I will say that the WWE has definitely done a good job with that, but still their main priority is sports entertainment. And that's
And
the
there's
thing I
nothing
feel
wrong
like a
with that
lot
as
of
long as
these.
it's utilized well.
Yes, it has to be utilized well. And here's the thing that I'm going to, put the nail on the head to end this episode of Extras. Everyone makes this a war between WWE and AEW. People need to realize WWE is sports entertainment, AEW is professional wrestling. There's a difference.
Mhm.
Yes, they do
And
the
I
same
mean,
thing, but when it comes to the product side of things, it's very different.
and it's okay to enjoy both products. I love WWE. I'm starting to like I love AEW, but I'm starting to enjoy WWE a little bit more
Me
because they're
too.
bringing back a lot of the guys that I love seeing, Bray Wyatt's and carrying crosses, and I'm kind of, as weird as it sounds, I'm kind of intrigued to see Logan Paul get smashed by the Tribal Chief. But it's okay to watch AEW as well as WWE. You know what I mean? I feel like there's some kind of like I feel like in the IWC there's like some kind of like unwritten law, whatever, that it's blasphemous to enjoy both products. When in reality, the only war is the war inside people's minds. They think that WWE and AEW are at war with each other. I guess to an extent, you can say they
Do you
are
wanna do you
because of
wanna know the
certain.
problem here?
Yes, I want to know the problem here.
The problem with this war is the bandwagoners, all right? You have all these bandwagoners when Vince McMahon was running things, they were all on the AEW train. And then
Yeah,
as soon as Triple H comes to save the day in WWE, they hop off the AEW train and they're like, screw you, AEW, this and that. And now they're on the Triple H friggin' train doing the DX suck it.
yeah. Like there's certain people that would say that was me, but the thing is, I watched WWE religiously when Vince McMahon was running it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the potential. Like, if you compare WWE now to how it was 6 months from now or 6 months ago, like totally different.
Way better.
I feel like Vince McMahon was like on the verge of killing his own company.
Vince
Like that
McMahon,
wasn't.
watching Raw, I can only sit there with the Vince McMahon Raw for 15 minutes probably. Triple H, I can sit here and do reactions finally on Mondays, and I can watch the entire episode of Raw for 3 hours. I still wish it was 2 hours, but
Yeah.
still. Going from 15 minutes having my attention to having probably 2.5 hours of my attention, that's a big progression.
Yep. So I've always, and I was very clear when when I used to talk to you about it. Like, I see the potential in WWE, but the creative minds behind it are fucking ruining the company.
Yep,
And
100%.
if you look at the difference compared to how Vince was running it to how Triple H is running it, I mean, it's like fucking night and day, bro. It's so good. Like, I look forward to fucking Friday nights and Monday nights now. Before, it was like a
Mm-hmm.
fucking chore to get through.
Yeah, no, I agree. But guys, let us know in the comment section below what your thoughts are on, these extra topics. Usually we do one topic per episode, but it's been a while, and these all kind of tied in somehow, some way. So we
Hmm.
decided to, put all three of these, little topics into this big extras. But if you guys enjoyed this, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. Links down in the description below. Follow us on our social medias and other YouTube pages. All that down below. And we are going to be going live on the We Are Wrestling channel tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You are not going to want to miss it. If you want to, you have some wrestling news or like you have some wrestling takes that you want our opinion on, we'll have really nice discussions with you and maybe even do a reaction video live. But to all the We Are Wrestling maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.